lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on. I think he missed the complete that. He's crazy stuff.
Side Freitas is on the grass on the infield floor. He slides through. He tags Richard Eck. The lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on. I think he
Hello and welcome to Talladega Superspeedway for round 6 of the iSuperSpeedway series. Hi, I'm Samuel Ryman, and with me in the booth are Evan Pasoko and Sean Ambrose, and behind the scenes doing all the button pushing is Giancarlo Lenzi. And as always, it would not be a GSRC broadcast without the talented camera work of Dougie Beard. Evan, we are here at Talladega Superspeedway. This series alternates between Talladega and Daytona. For those who need a little refresh on the course, why don't you give it to them?
Yeah, that's right. We're back at the 2.66 mile super speedway located in Lincoln, Alabama. Capacity crowd can pack in here and plus of 80,000 fans. This racetrack owned and operated by the International Speedway Corporation. Broke ground, guys, back in 1968, over the following year in 1969 for $4 million. The track itself, again, 2.66 miles, 4 turns with banking in turns 1 and 2 at 33 degrees and in 3 and 4 at about 32.5 degrees. The tri-oval can also be considered a turn in itself, 16.5 degrees there and 3 degrees down the back straightaway. A lot of things to keep in mind. This racetrack is very different from Daytona. It's a lot wider, and also the start-finish line located past that tri-oval, almost in between that tri-oval and turn number 1. So, gonna be an interesting race as always. These guys always love coming to Talladega and getting some good racing in. 47 laps on the board. Gonna be 125 miles tonight.
47 laps, so the drivers will be required to have a pit stop. Let's talk a little bit about the drivers. I'm going to hand it over to Sean Ambrose to take us through our point standings after 5 rounds.
Yeah, hey, thanks, Sam. Good to be with you this evening. Last week we saw a first-time winner this season in Mark Jorgensen Jr. That was his 3rd overall career A-Main victory. It was a great race. Unfortunately, we exceeded the time limit and ended under green, but exceeded the time limit, so the race was cut short by about 2 laps, and Mark would win, having a nice fight with Donnie Garantano, but it would find him in first place and Donnie in second, and Don Artman would finish 3rd. That shook up the points just a bit as Rod Flagg takes the lead in the points, sitting in first place. Frank Buccelia slipping to second. Brandon Chibirko in 3rd. Donnie Garantano in 4th. Mark Jorgensen making his way up to 5th. Rodney Wofford in 6th. Shane McEachin in 7th. Joshua Hanner in 8th. Dana Osborne in 9th. And Chris Jennings in 10th.
Yeah, and the top 4 in the points having a little bit of a buffer over the rest of the pack right now, but still over half of the season to go. Now, warm-up is just finishing. However, we still have a few minutes left before the race starts, because they are going to have to do a pace lap. Now, Sean, I'm going to hand it back over to you. Next week will not be round 7 of the iSuperSpeedway series. Instead, it will be a special race, the iSuperSpeedway All-Star race held here at Talladega. And these drivers are going to be racing today not only for points in the win, but for eligibility to attempt to get into that All-Star race. Why don't you tell us how they can do that?
Okay, well, here's what they've laid out. Okay, all the A-Main winners from Season 1 and Season 2 thus far, okay, plus the top 10 in championship points from Season 1 are in. Okay, so we know all those guys are in. Now, 2 guys will transfer from the All-Star Open. However, the number of drivers won't exceed the overall field limit of 20 drivers unless 20 drivers are already eligible. So, we're looking at that. It's coming up here Friday the 22nd, 75 lap race, 200 miles at Talladega. Going to be a fast, fun race. Obviously, we're increasing the distance, so it should be interesting to see how the strategy plays out for that. But the All-Star event is really big for this series, and we're really looking forward to it.
Yes, and now we can see the field has rolled off the starting grid. All of the 23 starters for this race have gridded up. They have got here by qualifying their way in via heat races, and your pole sitter is the number 94 car, Frank Buchala, third, with Mark Jorgensen Jr. on the outside, lined up in second. Rodney Wofford, third, and Tanner Mann in fourth. Ron Thompson and Tony Fenn on the third row. Greg Hooks and Jose Ramirez are seventh and eighth. Josh Bull and Josh Hanna round out the top 10. Evan.
Yeah, Glenn Hedrick's going to roll with the number 21 Ford off in position 11. Alongside him, Shane McEachin will be starting in 12th. The unlucky number 13 starting position belongs to the 99 of Don Artman. Mark Brown alongside him in 14th. Donnie Giratano a little bit further back than he would like to be, the number 2 in 15th. And Ryan Oates alongside him, the 24 car in the number 16 spot. Tommy Hall, the Ford, next row back. He'll be on the inside of that row, the number 17 spot. Larry Camp going to be starting in 18th in his number 33. Brandon Chaburko, the number 3, 19th. And rounding out the top 20, league organizers, the 23 of Rod Flag.
And then rounding out the rest of the field are Jared Haggerty, Dana Osborne and Chad Keane in 21st, 22nd and 23rd positions respectively. Just one pace lap here at Talladega Superspeedway, so they will be getting underway momentarily with the McDonald's-sponsored number 94 car Frank Buchala III in control of the field. This is a 47-lap race. It does have a time limit of 1 hour and 2 minutes if it becomes a caution fest. We hope that won't be the case, but honestly, with Talladega, you're never quite sure what you're going to see. Pace car pulls off, and Frank has control of the field in that number 94 Ford Fusion. Mark Jorgensen Jr. in the 81 going to try and make the high line work from the get-go. And they are working their way from the tri-oval. Remember, the start line is not until halfway down the straight after the tri-oval. And they are underway here. Mark Jorgensen Jr. already getting a bit of a jump. He might attempt to clear Frank Buchala entering turn 1, but he can't because he doesn't have any drafting help. And it looks like Frank is going to lead as they go through turns 1 and 2.
That 81 of Jorgensen got a little bit of a run there through 1 and 2, but didn't have the help that Frank Bucilia does. You see the 7, Rodney Wofford gets down there. Those bottom 3 on the inside lane down the back straightaway, they are pushing. Now the 81 has help. That's the 17 of Tanner Mann. But right now that 94 McDonald's Ford, that's Frank Bucilia. He continues to lead through 3 and 4. First side-by-side battle is for second.
Yes, and I apologise for any butchering of names I did. And look at this, they are Noah's Arkin 2 by 2 here as they come around to complete lap 1. Pretty much almost as if they started the race. However, there is a bit of a 2-car breakaway, and that's Rodney Wofford in second position in the number 7 car.
And guys, we see a couple cars here trying to go up to the top, make it 3 wide. It is 3 wide right now, almost. The 5 and what looks to be the yellow car there. I can't see the number, guys, but Josh Hanner trying to make it work up top with a little bit of help, and here comes Brandon Chabirko following the 28 right now, making his way up through the field.
Yeah, and these drivers won't be able to stay single file forever. That's why you see them spreading out a little bit like this, because they may risk overheating if they stay behind the car in front of them for too long. I wonder how long it's going to be until we begin to see that become an issue at the front, because Rodney Wofford has been tucked under the spoiler of Frank Buciala, and now he finally steps out, Evan, and he's going to the high side.
Yeah, and it's that 7 of Wofford that's leading the outside charge. He doesn't have any immediate help because the next car back there up top, the 44 of Ron Thompson, is trying to get back down in front of the 81 of Mark Jorgensen. So that checks up that middle lane in contact back in the pack of 28. Shane McEachin into the fence. A couple more. Oh, big wreck up top.
Yeah, and more trouble in front. More trouble in front of that. Josh
Rod
Ball
Flag,
and Josh Hanner.
Glenn Hedrick, Larry Camp, Josh Hanna, Shane McEachin has damage, Mark Brown, Tony Fenn. Lots of cars tore up in this one. Now, fortunately, they do get 2 free repairs, so they can make it around to pit road. they should be able to continue, but a lot of pretty cars looking a little bit worse for wear right now, Paul.
Yeah, and we're on replay now, but looks like 28 and the 88 got into it there, and the 73 got clipped, and just everybody broke loose. 73 into the 21, and then the 21 bumped the 48, and the 5 got into the 48. And just a mess. A lot of good cars just torn up right there. The 33 involved. Yeah, everybody needs to get back to the pits and take advantage of that free repair now, for sure.
Glenn Hedrick reporting that he's got a 5-minute tow, so he will lose at least one lap. I believe he won his heat race, and you can actually see him on the replay right now. We're gonna watch his adventure. So yeah, like we said, these drivers get 2 free repairs. Evan, I know you've been checking out the incident from the replays. What drew your attention there?
Yeah, and it was that checkup that we were talking about, and it was on that high side. A couple guys were out of line, and what happened was it looked like the 81 machine was Mark Jorgensen Jr. Him and a 44 of Ron Thompson. They were kind of trying to figure out what they were doing. They checked up. Everybody else behind them, they're not going to check up. They see this as an opportunity to gain some spots. So the 28 car tried to go to the middle. That was Shane McKeechin, and when he did so, everybody kind of checked up around him, and the 88 machine really had no idea that the 28 was there. They come down, and it would have been a 2-car incident, except the 73 barely gets hooked. Mark Brown, just a little bit of a tap from the 88, and he went out into Glenn Hedrick. Hedrick was sideways in front of the field, and that just made a big mess down that back straightaway. And like you said, a lot of fast cars are torn up here early.
Yeah, and you saw some cars heading down pit road, but they are the cars that have damage. Our leaders are going to stay out, and I'll tell you, one of the points contenders, Brandon Triberco, was very lucky to get through that. I believe he was unscathed. We will take a couple more looks at the replay, but we're going to take a quick break, reset everything for you. It looks like the leaders should stay out. We're only 3 laps in. We'll be back in a moment here at Talladega Superspeedway. We're back here at Talladega Superspeedway. They have just added a lap of caution due to a car stopping on the track, and well, you can see these as previously caught footage of some of the torn up machinery here at Talladega Superspeedway. Fortunately, a lot of these cars have received repairs. As you see, Josh Bell there is currently still in the race, riding about 12th or 13th position. Now here's the wreck, and watch the number 88 car if we can get him off. Tony Fenn kind of contributes to the wreck here. And Evan, what did you say you saw here?
Yeah, and there was a checkup, and Tony Fenn was riding his own line, and because of the checkup, the 28 tried to take advantage of it, and I don't really think the 88 of Fenn really had any idea that the nose of Shane McEachin was there, and he came in, he was trying to follow the 21 Glenn Hendrick. He comes down next to the nose, there's that 28 nose there on the inside, and that's what started. And again, it looked like a two-car wreck. However, the 73 of Mark Brown got clipped. He was sent into Glenn Hendrick's machine, and Glenn Hendrick back up into the fence, the 48, the 5, and that once again blocked the racetrack and made it an even bigger mess, collected about 6-7 more cars.
Well, the pace car lights are out, and right now I'm reading there's 4 cars not on the lead lap, and that is Josh Hanna, Mark Brown, Glenn Hedrick, and Larry Kemp. And I've got to be honest, guys, I do not see Glenn Hedrick or Larry Kemp on the circuit anymore.
Well, it looks like we have 18 drivers on the lead lap, and I don't see actually Tony Fenn appears to be off the racetrack right now. So, Mark Brown, Josh Hannert, Larry Camp, Glenn Hendrick are all off of the lead lap, but Camp, Hedrick, and Fenn appear to be behind the wall.
Hey guys, I'm watching the chat. Apparently there's a couple of guys that look like they may have had trouble with their system locking up on them. It looks like Glenn Hedrick says his system just froze and went blank and then it came back. So some of these guys towards the back, I think, have had a couple of might have had a problem of some sort.
Yeah, Tony Fenn is in that conversation. It looks like Glenn Hedrick and Tony Fenn. Shane McEachin said, I blacked out when he hit the inside wall, but the infield care center said he was good to go. I don't quite know how much I believe that story. But yeah, that would make sense, because Tony Fenn was the driver we saw stop on the circuit about a lap ago that ended up extending this caution, so that might be why we don't see him on the circuit right now. And that's going to be very unfortunate as the leaders come through turns 3 and 4 right now to complete lap 7 of 47, and once they get going green, if your car is still in pit road, you may be put down a lap or 2.
Yeah, well, hey, listen, everybody's got a fresh car. Okay, we're ready to go. Let's get another run at it here, and let's get some good green racing here for several laps. Let's see how it goes.
Frank Bruchalia III, much like he has before, is in control of the field, but now he has a new driver on the outside of him, the number 17 Pepsi Max Chevrolet of Tanner Mann. And as they work their way through the tri-oval, remember they got to go a little bit of a ways before they can jump on the gas. And once again, Frank Bruchalia just gets off to a really late restart, and as soon as the green flag flies, this game on, and the outside line actually gets to take a bit of an advantage there, Evan.
Yeah, the 7 car is actually there to help now, so Rodney Wofford up behind Tanner Mann, but before that outside lane can really get hooked up and get some speed, the inside, obviously the shortest way around this racetrack, gets the advantage when they go through 1 and 2. Now down the back straightaway, the 94 of Frank Busilia leads it down. The 17 of Tanner Mann pulls even with him, but we are 2 wide all the way through this pack, and it's nose-to-nose up front. Looks like the 17 and the 7 want to work together, and the 75 of Jose Ramirez wants to work with the 94 of Busilia.
And Brandon Chibirko and Josh Ball are just storming through the field right now. They have picked up about 10 positions from the back, and they hooked up from the get-go, and right now are about to catch this lead pack and make a move for the front.
Yeah, and talking about this lead pack, I'll tell you what, the number 7 car, Rodney Wofford, I don't know if he's running hot already, but he does not seem content with following Tanner Mann. He keeps sticking his nose out, and I almost wondered if he was going to attempt to move on the outside. He hasn't done that yet, and he actually gets back behind him here, and there's a solid push going on the outside line, but it's still Frank in control of the field, and then double fire all the way back behind him, Evan.
Yeah, the key is going to be on that outside lane. When you go into the corner, it's almost like going up a hill. If you're down on the bottom, you kind of dive it in. If you're on the outside, corner entry really kills your momentum. So you saw the 17 of Tanner Mann there through the corner, trying to be as low as possible, try to get some side draft. And the outside lane does get that run coming off the corner. But again, corner entry is really what stalls out the momentum. Now the 75 wants to make a move. Jose Ramirez to the top side. He will lead the outside charge, and he's going to make it a challenge for the number 1 spot down the back as they work around the lap machine of Glenn Hedrick.
Yeah, Glenn doing a good job of just staying high there, so hopefully the field will play sensible and remain in double file motion. Oh no, there's contact between Tanner Mann and Frank Butralia,
Wow.
But they're able to save it. They're 3 wide behind them, but providing they get out of this corner, they actually get through the turn okay. I can't quite believe that. But Jose Ramirez is now in the lead, but Tanner Mann goes back to the high line, Sean, to challenge for position.
Oh, we got
and
trouble at the back. Trouble at the back of the field.
And in the middle of the field, 2 cars on the inside wall.
Dana Osborne in the wall as well, the number 8 Chevrolet. It looks like it may be restricted to just the 8 and the 81. But back under caution, guys.
Yeah, Glenn Hedrick was still being lapped by some of the leaders, and they went 3 wide. And so 4 wide through the tri-oval just didn't quite work.
Yeah, and Ryan Oates had the contact there with the 21 of Glenn Hedrick, and Shane McEachin got caught up in that, and that was really really unfortunate. And McEachin went down into, it looks like, the 33 of Larry Camp, and that was just a mess back there.
I'll tell you what, and that wreck actually turned out, the one that started between Glenn Hedrick and Ryan Oates there, that one turned out to be a lot uglier than what the other one was that had Dana Osborne in it. The one with Dana Osborne, they actually kind of got away okay with only minor scratches. As we watch a replay of the bigger wreck here with Ryan Oates just being tossed around. But once again, these drivers get 2 free repairs. It's only been the 2nd accident we've had, so providing the cars that don't have to take too long of a tow or don't have damage that takes too long to fix, we should still see quite a few names in contention when they go back under green here, Evan.
Yeah, and you gotta feel bad for Glenn Hedrick. Again, he already had to take 2 tows to get back on track after having some problems there after that first incident. Took his tow, was good to go, and had some troubles in 1 and 2, had to take another tow, just got back going, was way up high, and the 24 car of Ryan Oates just not holding that car as low as he could. He may have been worried about the 28 machine behind him with Shane McEachin looking low, and just pushed that 21 up till there was no more room. And again, those 2 simultaneous incidents, Hedrick obviously pretty badly torn up. A couple guys in the fence. I know the 8 of Dana Osborne, when he got together with Mark Jorgensen Jr., the 8 machine got into the fence. So did the 81. Those 2 cars, relatively minor damage, but it's not really going to matter because even with that little bit of sheet metal, it's going to go down and get them a quick fix. So no difference in absolutely destroying their machines, but they will be cycled back through to the tail end of this lead group of cars, which is proving to be a tricky race tonight.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, momentarily before that wreck happened, we saw almost a wreck happen right at the front of the field, with Frank Butralia III falling back to 4th place, and our new leader after all of that, Sean, is Tanner Mann.
Yeah, and boy, it was amazing. Everybody seemed to check up at just the right moment and avoided a major wreck at the front of the field. An amazing save by all the drivers involved with that. That was pretty exciting to watch.
Well, they are working the second portion of the race here, coming around to complete lap 12 this time around. We have seen some cars take to the pits, obviously, primarily the cars that got damaged. I can tell that Tony Fenn has retired from the race, and I'm pretty sure Ryan Oates and Glenn Hedrick are currently behind the wall getting repairs. So I'll wait and see if the lights go off this time. But what are your thoughts so far on the race, Evan?
You give the, and we talked about it there when I talked about the track facts, the difference between Talladega and Daytona. Obviously, these guys alternating in between the two, but when you give these guys that extra 6-7 feet there up at the top of the racetrack, a whole nother lane, they're gonna want to get more aggressive. Even if you want to just try to ride, two wide, single file, or behind somebody, you can't. You can't stay tucked up. You want to move around. You want to get some air. You want to get up to the front of the field. It's almost like, it's an art to it. You can't just hang out at the back of the pack. You got to place your car in a spot that you'll be able to gain positions. And yes, this is a 47 lap race, but at the end of the day, nobody really wants to ride around all day mid-pack. A couple takers on pit road, all lap machines. Larry Camp down pit road. Mark Brown actually going to come down. He's the last car on the lead lap. So a couple of guys coming down pit road, but interested enough to note, guys, in reference to our leaders, you can go about 35 laps on fuel, and that time by the start-finish line, there was 35 laps to go in this race.
Yeah, and the pace lights are still on, so maybe we'll see even more takers at the end of this lap. And of course, they will be at an advantage if the race goes green till the end, which, honestly, given the kind of racing we've seen so far, looks like we may get another caution or two, but hopefully not. Sean, I know you've covered this series quite often, more often than I've been here, honestly. What do you think the odds are of these guys going to the end without that many cautions?
Slim, based on what we've seen so far, but listen, there's money at stake tonight. The I-5 bonus is in play here. Mark Jorgensen's got a lot to race for here. He's looking at a nice, I think it's a 10, I think he won last week, so I think it's a $5 iRacing dollars tonight if he can win the race. The top 5 finishers from last week's race are eligible: Mark Jorgensen, Donnie Garitano, Don Artman, Brandon Chibirko, and Rod Flagg. So, there is a little incentive to win this. A little bit of credit from the league and a bonus is nice. If none of them can win it, then it'll $5 will roll over to next week and it'll be worth 10. But I look for one of them, Donnie Garitano. I still think he has a good shot to win this race, and liked him going into it. And I'm going to say maybe it's his race to win or lose at this point.
I'm very surprised, Evan. We saw some cars running down on the apron in turn 4 there, but yet none of them came down pit road. Everyone stayed on track.
Yeah, and we've seen that kind of strategy play out here in races past, and maybe a little bit of messing around. You also could think that if these guys think that, we're going to have X amount of cautions here. I mean, we've already seen 2 cautions actually fly at about the opening 11 laps or so. If these guys are thinking that they can possibly stretch their fuel, if we get a lot more cautions to do so, that could be the general consensus. But I mean, again, you passed the 35 to go mark that last time by, or like about the lap or so after that yellow flag flew. That's your amount of laps you can go under green. They can save fuel under the yellow flag, but maybe some of them just don't even want to pit because they don't want to get put back there in the middle of the pack where it's kind of been chaotic here in these opening laps. So a lot of different things going around. I'm sure the crew chiefs up on the pit box, they're discussing it. The drivers obviously communicating. Some of these guys have spotters in here that they can talk to. So obviously a very fluid situation with a fuel strategy wise, but again, we've passed that 35 lap to go mark, so fuel strategy could also come into play here going forward.
Yeah, let's give you a little bit of an update on the positioning order right now. Chad Keane was scheduled to start this race from 23rd. He did not start the race, so actually only 22 cars started the race. 2 of them are out, Glenn Hedrick and Tony Fenn, and 3 of them are lapped down. Josh Hanna, Larry Kemp, and Ryan Oates say might be able to get those laps back with Lucky Dog Awards or wave arounds, depending on how the race and the cautions play out. As for the 17 cars that are left on the lead lap, Tanner Mann will be restarting from the first position, followed by Josu Ramirez, Rodney Wofford, Frank Buchalia the third, Greg Hooks, Dawn Artman in 6th, Ron Thompson in 7th, Donny Giarratano in 8th, Jared Haggerty in 9th, and Josh Ball in 10th, Sean.
Yes, and in 11th, Brandon Chibirko. 12th, Tommy Hall. 13th, Rod Flagg. 14th, last week's winner, Mark Jorgensen. In 15th, Shane McEachin. In 16th, the number 73 of Mark Brown. In 17th, Dana Osborne. In 18th, Josh Hanner. In 19th, Larry Camp. In 20th, Ryan Oates. And 21st, Glenn Hedrick. And 22nd, Tony Fain, who is, I believe, out of the race at this point.
Yeah, Glenn Hedrick and Tony Fenn both out of a race. Something else that is out here are the lights that are on top of the pace car. So you see Tanner Mann in that number 17 Chevrolet pulling to the bottom of the circuit, and Jose Ramirez pulling to the top of the circuit in the number 75 Bacardi Chevrolet. Now, every time we get a couple new drivers up the front on these restarts, you've got to begin to wonder, are they going to be drivers that are going to go early on the restart, or are they going to be drivers that wait to the green flag? We've seen Frank Bruchalia waiting for the green flag to drop on the last two restarts, Evan, but I don't know how well that's been working out for him.
Yeah, and he's also been a little bit late. We've seen that green flag fly, and there's still been a little bit of hesitation. That's why we've seen the other guys on the outside lane be able to pull about half a car length. Now, to be fair, the inside line does get that advantage back when they go through 1 and 2, but I really don't think you're going to gain a lot from going before the green. You really got to go close to it, because you can pull out in front of this field, sure, but by the time you hit that back straightaway, the field's going to start to get up to speed. They're going to start pushing, and you'll get your doors blown right off. So you almost want to go in time with the rest of the field and not get a jump.
Yeah, a large lead can become very overrated here at Talladega, and so you're not going to want the field to get that slipstream on you as they come out of turn 4 here. Tanner Mann, Jose Ramirez, Rodney Wofford and Frank Bruchalia, the top 4, and the pace car is about to pull off right now down pit road. And let's see when Tanner Mann goes. The field bunching up as they go through the tri-oval here. Number 17 car on the low line has control of the field. And they're still coming through the tri-oval as we ride on board. Greg Hooks in 5th. The green flag is out, and there's already one car dropping to the apron back there. Not quite sure who that is. But once again, the high line getting a pretty good run. Let's see if Tanner Mann can win the low line back in turns 1 and 2.
That was Joshua Hanner dropped down to the apron there on that drop at a green flag. He is the first car 1 lap down, so he drops away from this lead draft, which looks like the outside may be able to get it. The 94 of Busilia, he's pushing that 75 of Jose Ramirez down the back straightaway. Can they both clear the 17? Yes, they do.
Yes, we continue the ride on board Greg Hooks, who's just being pushed back a little bit there as the high line began to work, but now, with the two leaders from the high line pulling down low, Jose Ramirez and Frank Bruchalia, that means that this outside line has a little bit less help. But I'll tell you what, they're still working pretty good. Orr Nartman running up there now in 3rd with the Wrangler car, the number 2 car of Donny Giantaro right on his rear spoiler. And it's getting a little bit wild in the middle of the field here. They almost had a 3 wide back there. And this is really early, I think, Sean, for them to be racing this aggressively.
Yeah, you'd think based on what we've seen that so far there'd be a little bit of patience and, I don't know, maybe there's some urgency here to get to the front. Obviously there is because of what's happened in the back of the field so far, but yeah, it's too early to be this risky. But Garitano's making his way up, and Brandon Chibirko trying to make his way through the field here. But right now I think he's just kind of settling in, trying to avoid any mishaps and being patient as we see him following here pretty closely. But yeah, I don't know. Hopefully they'll settle down and get some good green flag racing in here.
17 laps down, 30 to go, and up to the high line goes Tanner Mann. Maybe he was overheating a little bit. That's going to give the number 7 car, Rodney Wofford, a run underneath him. Top 2 cars have been able to break away a little bit. That's Ramirez and Busialia. And now they are double file for 3rd, and Tanner Mann is getting a push on the high line by the number 99 car of Orr Nartman. This high line is not giving up, Evan.
Yeah, they started to draw back until the point where that 17 machine of Tanner Mann, who's leading the outside charge, was about even with the 4th car down on the bottom. They've made up a little bit of ground. Everybody kind of settled down from that restart as they tried to find a spot in line and get sorted out. Now that outside lane trying to make a push back up to the front. I mean, we saw our race leader, the 75, get there for the outside. Now the 94 wants it back. Frank Busilia to the high side. Does the 17 help him around the 7? Rodney Wofford gets up to the back bumper of Jose Ramirez on the bottom.
You know, I'm not really sure what happened with Tommy Hall, but he got up top and left out and has dropped all the way through the field towards the back now.
Might be a smart decision given how frantic it's been in the middle of the field. Yeah, Frank Busilia is really using that high line to the best of his ability. Usually you would think the low line, the shortest way around, is the quickest way to go. But I'll tell you what, Evan, these drivers are proving us wrong tonight.
Yeah, and that's how they gotta do it. You can ride that inside lane, and that's the safe way to do it. You look at the guy like the Talladega of Greg Hooks. He's third in line down there on the bottom. He's in a little bit of a secured spot. He can just ride around there behind the 7 Rodney Wofford, not have to worry about it. Now, you're not going to be making passes on the bottom. The bottom is where you... Oh, and almost contact now. The 17 of Tanner Mann up the racetrack 4 wide now, and they settled that out, and now more contact down the back, and I don't know if they're going to be able to hang on.
Wow, yeah,
Tanner Mann is a ping-pong ball.
Jorgensen into the 2, and they hang on.
Well, what happened is Tanner Mann got pushed out of line in turn 2, and instead of just staying high and letting them pass, he kind of came back down in the middle of the field. Now, he did it safely. He didn't actually get contact with everyone directly, but everyone kind of panicked a little bit and got into each other. They did a marvellous job at holding on to it, though, and as they come around to complete lap 20, we're still under green. Jose Ramirez has just gone up to the high line, and so now he's going to be riding side by side with Rodney Wofford, who's coming on the low line. And look at the number 48 car of Josh Ball, who was wrecked earlier and was actually in the middle of a ping-pong game a little while ago. He is coming down on the low side in that number 48 Lowe's car.
And like I was trying to say there until things got real crazy there down the back is, as opposed to riding on a freeway where the far left lane's the passing lane, it's the opposite. If you're on the bottom here, that's where you ride. If you want to make a pass, it's on the top. You see the 75, the 94 pushing. Nobody on the bottom is really pushing all the way around this racetrack. The 48 of Josh Ball gives the 7 to Rodney Wofford a little bit of a boost. That's it. They're not staying hooked up all the way because that's where they're riding. If you're going to make a pass, you got to go up to the high side. That's how Busilia's done it. That's how the 75 of Ramirez has done it. You go up high, you push a little bit, you drop back down in line. Looks like the 75, though, wants to work with the 94. Now the 94 steps out of line. We're going to be 3 wide up front.
Yeah, Jose Ramirez is in the sucker hole right now. And look at the number 94 of Busilia come down in front of him. And that's actually going to help him a little bit. And now the cars that are going to lose out are those that are on the high line. There's only 2 of them, Greg Hooks and Ron Thompson. And they don't have any drafting help, so they're going to have to fall back to the back of this lead pack. And they call it the lead pack, Sean, because ever since we saw that game of ping-pong a couple of laps ago, it's kind of split up into 2 packs a little bit.
Yeah, we've got 2 packs going, and I'll tell you what, there's some pretty dicey racing going back here in the second pack. I've been following Tanner Mann a little bit, and his car is really loose. I'm wondering if he's still working with some damage or not, but it's been rough riding for him, and right now they've kind of all stepped in the line, but they're going to have a little trouble if they don't get with it here and catching up to that front pack. Although it does look like they're starting to gain on them just a bit. And maybe it's because they have stepped in line, but like I said, it's been a little dicey back here. Ryan Oates, the 24 lap down, he's been fighting for position like he's on the lead lap. So we'll see what's going to happen here. But as we see, yeah, there we go. Ryan Oates gets into the back of Tanner Mann there and got him loose, and we almost had another accident right there. But guys, this is not bad here at the back.
Fortunately, we didn't have another accident. I'll tell you what, though, it's beginning to calm down a little bit. Most of the field's single file. There's only 4 cars up in that high line, but they're still pulling a strong enough draft. There's actually a 5th car joins them at the back there. Jose Ramirez leads that high line, followed by Shane McEachin, followed by Greg Hooks, Ron Thompson, and the driver that's came upstairs to join them is Dawn Artman. So they're still trying to make that high line work, and right now it's Busilia leading the low line in the number 94 car, Evan.
And we are just fresh past that halfway point this time by the start-finish line. The leader's going to take lap number 25 of 47. So now on the downhill side of things, the 75 remains to try to lead that outside charge. That 94 of Busilia is on the bottom, but pretty much 2 wide, 2 rows deep. Nobody really stepping out of line, getting real crazy at the moment. but don't get comfortable if you're riding around out front, because a lot of these guys are going to start to get tired of riding content in line and are going to want to try to make a move here. The 75 tries to pull a little bit of gap there in 3 and 4 with the help from the 28 of McEachin, can't get it done, and still door-to-door up front.
The 24 just got into the wall, and I didn't see what happened, but Mark Jorgensen just dropped all the way back here with those guys to the back of the field. He just fell out of contention all of a sudden for, I don't know, maybe one of you guys saw something.
I think he was down pit road, Mark Jorgensen. I'm not sure, but it looked like he was going very slow on the apron last time out turn 1. I'm not sure if he maybe made a pit stop. But I'll tell you what, this second line has formed in this lead pack, racing just like it was the start of a race again. And I can't help but notice a little bit of damage on the front right quarter panel of Frank Brusilia's car. It doesn't seem to be hurting him though, because he's still giving Josu Ramirez a run for his money at the front of his field.
You know, I'm a little surprised. I'm trying to figure out what Brandon Chibirko's strategy is. I mean, we've seen him run up front all season so far, and right now he's back here languishing in this second pack. Now he's leading this second pack, and they're starting to gain a little bit of ground, but I don't know. It just seems like he's kind of laid back, waiting for the big one to stay out of trouble. But I don't know if we're going to see him contend for this race or not. I guess only time will tell.
Yeah, well, he started 19th, so he would have had to have attempted to make his way through the field sometime. I'm pretty sure he's been able to avoid the major incidents. But yeah, Frank Brusilia definitely not where we're used to seeing him. However, we still have 20 laps left to go, and they're going to continue their close on this lead pack, Evan, because this lead pack is running side by side, and that is just punching a massive hole in the air for all these cars running single file behind them.
Yeah, take a look at Chaburko. These guys are running like 3 miles an hour faster, so I like the position that the 3 car has himself in. He's with the 24 of Ryan Oates. Ryan Oates is a lap car, so you see they catch up to the back. The 24 yields to him. The 3 goes down in front. They make a switch, so those 2 have been pushing. The only thing you got to worry about is, yes, you can hang back and try to avoid the incidents, but there's a point in time that you got to decide it's time to go. You can't wait too long, because you're not going to be able to just push and go up at a high side and pass this whole pack. It's going to take a little bit of work. That's what they're going to try to do, though. 3 in the 24 to the high side in the back.
Yeah, I think Chibirko decided it's time to go. What do you think there, Evan?
Yeah, I mean, you're starting to run out of time. Look at this. This time by the start-finish line, we're going to be closing in on what's going to be about 19 or 18 laps to go in this thing. So you're almost at that point where you got to decide, is it worth trying to make that move now?
Yeah, and I apologize for my mispronunciation of Frank Brusilia's name. This race, there's no R in it, but I'll tell you. Oh, as we see one car go up into the wall there. I was about to say we've had to change for the lead.
Yeah.
Name McEachin suddenly in the lead. Who was that?
That was Ryan Oates up into the wall. He's managed to hold the car.
Another car.
The 48. He hangs on to it on the apron. He's got to come back. Right in front of traffic.
Yeah, he
right
got
into
tight.
Tanner Man. Right into Tanner Man. Wow.
That's ugly.
And he hit Brandon Chibirko too.
Wow. And Chaburko we just said he's going to try to make his move, and I'm looking, and Josh Ball had that thing turned all the way to the left the whole time, but the car it wouldn't get settled. He came up and just clobbered that 17 of Tanner Man. Chaburko gets through it for all intents and purposes, but does pick up some damage from that, but that was not pretty going down into 3 and 4.
I think Josh Ball should have seen that coming a little bit. Maybe he had a little bit less control than what I thought he did. But yeah, that you can't expect the car to turn that well when there's no banking down there to help it turn. And he just plows up there, and Tanner Man has nowhere to go. Brandon Chibirko gets a bit of damage. I'll tell you what, though, it's very lucky that there were only 3 cars involved in that.
Well, that was significant damage for Chibirko. His front end is crushed. His left rear deck is crushed. I hope he's got a free fix left in him. He's going to need it here. The car's in bad shape.
I think he does. But obviously, pitting is not going to help him gain track position if most of the leaders stay out. Now, we did see in the replay the reason as we're watching the replay of Ryan Oates here, Someone pulls down into the 48 to make him go off course. I didn't quite see who it was.
Well, Don Artman, I'm seeing here in the chat, Don Artman apologized to the 48, so let's look at it from Don Artman's angle and see what happened.
I see why our director just pulled up Ryan Oates' replay now, because Ryan Oates basically went underneath 2 cars as they were flying through the air, so he's very lucky to still be in this race.
Yeah, that 99 of Don Artman was kind of running mid-pack, and he tried to split a gap between the 44 of Ron Thompson and the 48, and there was just not enough room, and evidently he does cause that incident, knocks Josh Ball to the apron, and then from the apron back up in the middle of the traffic. But unfortunately, but ironically enough also, it seems that the cars that typically start these wrecks, guys, are the ones that kind of get away without a scratch.
Yeah, we'll watch this replay one final time. Shane McEachin is currently in the lead of this race. We're expecting this caution period is going to go on for a long time and the leaders aren't going to pit. So we'll take a quick break here. We'll watch one more time as Dawn Artman in the blue car comes down and gets into the 48 car of Josh Ball. Right here in the replay. And that contributes to our 3rd caution of this race, I believe. These drivers had a very good long green flag run there. Maybe they'll be able to take it green to the end of the race. We'll find out when we come back. Josh Ball has retired from the race. We are under our third caution here, coming up on 15 laps left to go at Talladega Superspeedway, but the race may end even sooner than that, Evan.
Yeah, that's right. These guys running a little bit of a time constriction right now, currently working up on 47 minutes into this race. There's a limit of an hour and 2 minutes, so if we see a couple more cautions as the pace car gets ready to hit pit road, that time limit could come into effect here.
Yeah, and actually we have the time limit up on our screen. In the top left corner you see it counting down 18 minutes and 12 seconds left remaining, and 11 and 10 and 9. Anyhow, Shane McEachran is in control of the field. He is on the low side in the green and black number 28 car. Frank Brucilia is in the number 94 car, and he gets a good restart. He's going to make that highline work again for him, Sean.
Yes, he is, and Frank is up top, trying to get her up front. A little help from Rodney Watford behind him there, and we already see 3 wide through the turn as we've got Brandon Chiberko outside of Donnie Garitano with some help there from the 5 of Josh Hanner, lapped down, but giving help to Chiberko. And we got a couple cars. Garitano's been turned around into the wall.
Dana Osborne into the wall. Tanner Mann, yeah, he is smoking. Josh Hanna, Donnie Giratano.
Yeah, and that's the 2 car right there. Donnie Giratano in the middle, and something that you don't see a lot on iRacing anymore, and that's that bumper grab. The 2 car is just not stable on the back bumper. The 4 of Tommy Hall moves down, and it hooks his front end around. He gets into the 5, and when you have 2 cars sideways in front of the field, the 81, the 17, the 8, good job by the 33 machine and the 24 for initially being able to get around that. Larry Camp and then that 24 machine, who's recently back at a lead lap. Brian Oates just barely stepping out of line in time to get around it, but back under yellow we go, and with over 10 laps to go and closing in on 10 minutes left, these guys, again, that time situation is definitely going to come into effect here. If we see, I think, one more caution, that could cut this thing short, which would be a first for this season.
Yeah, but it's a possibility, and I'll tell you one driver who's benefited is one driver we've been attempting to watch the progress of, who you actually see in the replay was just in front of that wreck when it happened. If we watch a slow-mo here, is Brandon Chiberko. He is going to be in about 10th place when we get going here. And yeah, once the wreck starts at Talladega, if you're right behind it, there's really not a whole lot you can do. Josh Hanna has retired from the race.
Looks like Chiberko, well, I looked like he was going to go in for a pit, but I guess not. I don't know, we'll see here. Looks like some guys got a little tomfoolery going on.
Yeah, a couple of the back markers coming in to try and... What's going on between Tanner Mann and Larry Camp? I think Tanner Mann's engine has blown up and his car's become immobilized, and Larry Camp is pushing him around to the pits and gets it around there and actually almost turns Mann around. I think that's what was going on there. I don't think Tanner Mann is going to be able to make it to his pit stall at that speed.
It doesn't look like it was quite enough. No, and he stopped the car on the apron and is taking his toe to the pit.
Yeah, the 17 lost it.
Yeah, Mark George Jensen Jr. has retired from the race. So, finally these 3 repairs beginning to get used up and our drivers are beginning to drop out. One driver who has not dropped out though, and I believe is still on the lead lap, is the number 2 car of Donnie Giratano. Has just returned to the circuit in the pristine car and still on the lead lap in that number 2 car, but he's going to have to pass a lot of cars if he wants to get a good finish today.
Well, let's remember that I-5 bonus is still in play, and you know, Donnie being on the lead lap is still eligible. Chiberko obviously still eligible. Rod Flag still in it. Don Artman still in it. So, there are those 5 iRacing dollars at stake still, and a trophy.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the front runners right now to see if there's any new names up there. Really, the top 5 drivers are drivers we have talked about all day. But let's talk about the driver in 6th place, Mark Brown, the number 73 car. Haven't seen a whole lot of him today, Evan.
Yeah, and really not a lot of comers and goers. Also something to note that we discussed the fuel strategy earlier. Race leader Frank Busilia has not made a trip down to the pit lane. So about these 4 or so cautions I believe that we've had are evidently it looks like is going to be what making these guys able to get to the end of this race without having to stop. They are down on the apron. They're going to think about it, play a little bit of games with each other. Does anybody decide to come down and get service? Looks like they all stay out. But again, so the amount of cautions that we've seen, and I think this isn't the first time that we've seen this, where a handful of cautions allow these drivers to save enough fuel under the yellow flag that they don't even have to make that one trip to pit road.
Yeah, I don't believe Rodney Walford's come in either. He's apron riding the whole way around. I gotta imagine he's obviously saving as much fuel as possible. And now with the time limit coming into play here, why go in? You may wind up finishing this race sooner than the checkered flags actually do.
Yeah, and pace lights stay on for another lap, which of course is going to kill even more time and save even more fuel for these front runners, Brusilia and Woford. So that could definitely play to an advantage for them. Doesn't look like our front runners are going to change right now, so we will take another quick break and be back with you momentarily. Hello and welcome back to Talladega Superspeedway. The timer hits 10 minutes. Will it be a race against the clock, or will it be a race against the official lap count, which is 10 laps left go when they cross the line and restart the race here? When they restart the race, Frank Brusilia will be restarting from the first position with still that damage on the right front fender of his 94 McDonald's Ford. Rodney Woford lined up on the outside of him in second position in the number 7 car. Then Shane McEachin was starting on the low side in the number 28 in third. Ron Thompson in fourth. Jose Ramirez in fifth. Mark Brown in sixth. Greg Hooks in seventh. Dawn Artman in eighth rather. Jared Haggerty in ninth, and then Brandon Tuberco rounds out the top 10 in 10th place in the number 3 car. They're rolling off of turn 4 right now. Will this be a race against the clock? Will this be a race against laps? Will we see another caution? Will we not? Which line is going to get off to the best restart here? We're all about to find out these questions as the pace car, the Ford Mustang, iRacing.com, Ace car, pulls down pit road. Brusilia is in control of the field. Woford, though, in that number 7 car, trying to get the best start he can possibly get. But we've seen Brusilia wait until the drop of a green flag every single time, and that's what he's going to do again, and it means he's going to fall back a little bit. But Woford gets a bit of it, and there's a checkup going.
Oh, big wreck!
Already.
Jose Ramirez is sideways in front of the pack. The 73, the 99, the 3, the 23, the whole back half of that lead draft is going to be involved in that incident. And with the timer now closing in on what is going to be 5 minutes to go left in this race, and still about 8 or so to go, I think we may even finish under this caution flag period, or you may get a one-lap shootout based on time.
The 73 checked up, and Don Artman got into the back of the 73, and that was all she wrote, boys.
Yeah, and a couple big names there. Ramirez has damage, and Triberco had damage.
That's a tough break for Brandon Chaburko. Third in the championship standings, and you can't really say he's falling back. Only 4 points out of it, but when you take a look at a Rod Flag, who's leading the points entering this evening, Rod Flag also in that incident. Yeah, so there's going to be some pretty serious championship standings implications here, and after tonight's race, we do hit the halfway point in the season.
I do see a lot of cars not on track right now. I'm trying to count, actually, around the circuit, and I am counting 14 cars on circuit. So yeah, we lost a lot of drivers there who I guess got to tow the pit road, and they're going to lose 1 or 2 laps and probably several positions, and maybe even just retire, because as you said, Evan, I'm not sure that we're going to get we're going to see a green flag finish to this race.
Telling you, Frank Busilia, and he wants to race it out, but secretly he loves what he's seeing, because he's sitting right now. He's going to be going back to victory lane, assuming that this thing does end here under this caution flag period, as he sits in first. But he entered tonight second in the championship standings, 3 behind Rod Flag in that wreck, 1 point in front of Chaburko in that wreck. Donny Giratano was entering tonight championship standings, just about 9 points back from him. Giratano is back in 10th position, so Frank Busilia really going to walk away tonight's big winner if it ends the way we run.
Cars coming down pit road, they must think at the look, Dawn Artman coming in from 7th position, and Donny Giratano coming in from 10th position. They could be out there contending for top 10 finishes. They do both have damage. I wonder if they're thinking this race is going to go back under green, and they're going to need that damage repaired. There is still 6 minutes left. A caution lap around here takes about 2 minutes. We may get a 1 or 2 lap shootout.
Yeah, I'm hopeful that we get it, but it's going to be really, really close here. Maybe a 1-lap shootout, but, Rodney Wofford is still out there and still has a chance to win this thing if he can get around Frank. Ron Thompson's kind of been up there all race, and Shane McEachin is just kind of hung in there. So, I mean, I guess these top 4 all have a chance, but I guess we just kind of have to wait and see how this plays out. As I'm showing, we've just got just a little bit less than 2 minutes in time left.
Let's explain this a little bit. There's an iRacing have a timer at the top of our screen. Not the timer that you're seeing on your broadcast at home. That timer begins counting at the start of the session before the race starts. Before they actually leave the grid. The clock that starts when the race actually gets a drop of a green flag is the race timer, and that race timer still has 4.5 minutes left. So they'll have about 4 minutes left when they cross the line here. If we see the pace lights go off, we may see a 2-lap shootout.
Yeah, thanks for picking me up on that. You are right about that, and so we very well may get the shootout we're hoping for.
Yeah, well, we'll wait and see this time by if the pace lights come off or not. Busilia is in the lead, Woford second, Thompson third, McEachin fourth, and Hooks fifth. if they stay under caution, that's the way they finish, provided they can all make it on fuel, but that may not be the case.
Yeah, right now it looks like we have 11 cars on the lead lap. Josue Ramirez is the 12th one, and he is currently being short on the lead lap, last car on the lead lap, but he is not currently on the racetrack. So this time by, we're going to see the pace car. The lights do remain on the iRacing Ford First Mustang pace car, so at least 2 more circuits at about 2 minutes and 17 seconds per lap. It looks like the 94 might steal this one.
Yeah, guys, I think we can probably call it a race at this point.
Well, let's run down the order if we can call it a race. Frank Brusilia will win, with Rodney Wofford in second. This is all providing we don't restart, of course. Ron Thompson in third, Shane McEachran in fifth, and Shane McEachran in fourth. Ron Thompson's in third, and Greg Hooks is in fifth. Evan?
Yeah. Jared Haggerty is 6th, Tommy Hall 7th, Ryan Oates 8th, Donnie Giratano back up to 9th, Don Artman is 10th.
Yeah, and a tough race for Larry Camp there in 11th, but did avoid a little bit of trouble and will manage finishing on the lead lap. Josue Ramirez in 12th. Tanner Mann, tough race for Tanner, finishing in 13th, a couple laps down. Dana Osborne in 14th, Mark Brown in 15th. Brandon Chiberko, rough night. Going to take a little bit of a tumble in the points, but still within reach of a championship. Rod Flagg, tough night for Rod as well, down in 17th. Mark Jorgensen, last week's winner. Tough night early for Mark, and is going to finish 7 laps down. Josh Hanner in 19th. Josh Ball in 20th. In 21st, Glenn Hedrick. And in 22nd, Tony Fain.
Well, we'll wait to see. Even if we don't get a white flag displayed here, they may call it the final lap anyhow. Our time is coming down to about 1 minute 30 seconds left. By the time they come and complete another lap under caution, the timer will be run down. Whether or not they let them have a 1 lap shootout remains to be seen. I guess the determining factor will be, does the field go double file here or not?
Yeah, we really haven't been to
it looks like they are going double file. Pace car crosses the line.
Lights are off.
Yeah, will we get a 1 lap shootout? And if that's the case, it may be one of the first times we've seen this season that we'll see the race finish under green. Because even if there is a wreck on the white flag lap, the race continues. And I'm getting word that the last race did finish under green, so yeah, got a good streak going here, Evan.
Yeah, well, we did finish under green, but it was kind of the same situation. We ran out of time, so the situation was a little bit different, but we ran out of time. So, what do you think, Evan? What do you think's going to happen here?
I mean, they're close on time, so it's all going to come down to where that clock sits at the green flag, and if they get the green flag, is it going to be a green and the white at the same time? I know the 7, Rodney Wofford, he's ready to go. He's shaking that car back and forth, scruffing up those tires. He wants to get this thing going. If it is a 1 lap shootout, again, these guys are still going to be getting up the speed before they hit that back straightaway, so you're going to have to be making a crazy move there going into 3 and 4, but still a lot of unknowns there. Counting down the seconds here as we get ready to take what could possibly be the final green flag. We pace through 3 and 4.
I think the drivers are discussing over there. Oh, look, a white flag is displayed. This is it. This is it. This is the end of a race. Frank
1 lap shootout.
No, I think the white flag is out now. I think this is it. I think they need to get single file, and Brusilia is going to take the win here. It's unfortunate to see it end that way. And I say these drivers need to get single file, because if they are going to take the checkered flag here, they cannot finish out of position. Because if they finish in front of someone that they're not meant to finish in front of...
Pace car's off.
Do we go for a 1 lap shootout?
Let's find out. Brusilia's destined to win this race, unless it is a 1 lap shootout.
Green flag.
Wofford crosses the line first. It may just be a mistake without graphics, because it looks like they're going to race for it. Yep, it is the white flag. Wofford getting out to the lead. It's a one-lap shootout. And Brusilia is on the low line. Both are
he's
coming
got
down
help
to try and get that side draft. He has no help. He has a bit of contact with the 44 car of Ron Thompson.
Ron Thompson might be able to steal this. He's going to be on the back bumper of the 94. Now we get the question, do you want to be leading or do you want to be in second? Look at the 7 of Wofford using the side draft. We're going to go 3 wide. The 28 of Shane McKeach to the high side into 3 and 4 for the final time.
Oh, and there's contact there. Into
then the fence.
Goes McKeach. And it's going to be, I think it's going to be between Brusilia and Thompson for the win. In third place is Hooks, and they're fanning out behind third place. It's still a bit of a tandem for the lead right now. Brusilia in the lead. Thompson sticks his nose out, but he's got nothing for him so far. He's going to try again, but it's not enough. Brusilia's going to take the win.
Wow. Frank Brusilia, that number 1 spot. The 44 couldn't make a move because the 98 of Greg Hook stepped out of line, and that gave Ron Thompson no other choice but to just push that 94 through.
Oh, and they reckon over in turn 2. You know it wasn't going to last forever, but I'll tell you what, at least they made it to the line. That was some exciting racing there at the end. But I'll tell you what, well done to Brusilia. He ran up front there all day. He started on pole. And you got to hand it to him.
Well, hey, guess what? We get to do the rundown again after the break because positions changed, and we had a really nice finish there under green. How about that? I didn't expect that. It was a bit of a surprise, a nice surprise, a real nice surprise.
It was a nice surprise. So congratulations, Brusilia, and we'll be back to run down the order and talk to some of our drivers. Hello and welcome back to Talladega Superspeedway, where we just finished round 6 of Season 2 of the iSuperSpeedway series after 44 laps here. It turned into a timed race, and the winner was Frank Busilia in front of Ronald Thompson in second, Greg Hooks in third. Donny Giordano got a good finish in fourth. That'll help his points chances after being in about 10th before that final lap shootout. Tommy Hall was able to rebound to a nice 5th place finish. Rodney Wofford fell back to 6th. Jared Haggerty in 7th. And Ryan Oates got 8th place. And Shane McEachin in 9th. And Dawn Artman in 10th. And before we go on to the rest of the field, I want to make a mention that those top 10 cars all finished within 1 second of each other. Evan.
Yeah, Larry Camp is going to be the only driver to finish on the lead lap outside of the top 10. He takes home position 11. Josue Ramirez 1 lap down in 12th. Tanner Mann and Dana Osborne 13th and 14th. Those two guys sitting 2 laps down. Mark Brown 15th. Brandon Chaburko 16th and Rod Flagg 17th. Those 3 drivers going to finish 6 laps off of the pace. Mark Jorgensen Jr. in 18th. He finishes 11 back. 12 laps down. Josh Hanner in 19th and Josh Ball going to round out the top 20.
Yes, and then rounded out the field Glenn Hedrick and Tony Fenn, who were out of the race early on due to a bit of technical issues, actually. And then Chad Keane in 23rd, who did not start the race. So, first of all, we are going to speak to our winner today, Frank Brusilia. And he is about to come into the interview room here. Frank, congratulations on your win today.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate it.
You were up there for a lot of the race. Did you feel confident in your ability to win throughout most of it?
I never really am until the end, but I know you guys saw we got in a little bit of rhythm there early, and me and Greg was up there, Rodney was way. We were all fighting really hard up there for a while, and it's just hard to remain consistent when we're getting some yellows. But we go 100% every lap, and however the cards fall, that's what we'll take.
Now, we're under the impression you did not pit at all during the race. How close were you on fuel at the end there?
It was actually closer than I thought it was going to be. With the first yellow being so early, I stayed out. I guess I had maybe 3 gallons or so, but those last 2 yellows, actually, without those, I probably would have had to pit, or it would have been really, really close.
Right, now, when did you guys know driving that the race was going to have a 1-lap shootout at the end, and what was your reaction when you found that out?
Well, we took the 2 to green, and a few of us started talking about the timer, and the timer was going to run out before we took 1 to green, so I wasn't sure how it was going to work out. I mean, I definitely would rather race it out for sure, like we did, instead of winning one under a yellow. But we didn't know until we came to 1 to green. The pace car went in, and we all went for that last lap.
Well, congratulations. You did a very nice job winning from the pole, leading 21 laps, almost half race distance. So congratulations, and we wish you the best of luck. I believe you'll be in the All-Star race next week. Yeah,
I sure will be. I appreciate you all coming out and broadcasting, and I just want to really want to thank Rod Flagg. I know we've been struggling for a few weeks, but I know he's going to right the ship, get us back in shape so we can put on a better show.
Yeah, well, we certainly enjoyed the show tonight. Congratulations, Frank, and I am going to hand it over to my co-commentator, Sean, right now to speak to our second place finisher today, Ron Thompson.
Ron, congratulations on a second place finish tonight. How you feeling right now?
Oh, that's fantastic. I really, really enjoyed it too. Tonight was a good run for me.
You had that Miller machine running up front all night. Looked good.
Yeah, the boys over at 3D Racing, they've really taken care of me and helped me out a lot, and showed me few tricks and everything. So I really wanted to give him a shout out and say thanks for that. But I think we unloaded fast and was running fast all night.
So, were you surprised to get that one lap shootout there at the end?
Yes, I was hoping we at least was going to get one more lap, and because I thought I at least had a chance for a win there, and break my cherry open there. So, but it had been good.
Well, I think it turned out real nice for you. It was a good run. Anybody else you want to thank before we let you go?
Oh yeah, all iSuperSpeedway Racing for sure, and the you guys up there in the booth. I know we've been putting on a show, and we're working hard at trying to resolve some of the cautions. But shout out to the boys over at 3D Racing, and I appreciate you guys.
All right, thank you, Ron. We'll see you next week. Sam, back to you.
Yes, and now we're about to speak to our third place finisher, Greg Hooks. I'm going to hand it over to Evan.
Yeah, we're down here on pit road, caught up with Greg Hooks. Greg Hooks at ID8 Crew going to come away with a top 3 finish. Greg, first, walk us through your race. You qualified in the number 7 position through those heat races. This race saw its fair share of the yellow flags. How did you get to where you were and be in contention there in that closing portion to be able to fight for the win?
Yeah, I had a great race. I was able to keep it up in the top 7 most of the race, and it's unfortunate all the cautions we had. I haven't been here the past few weeks, so I haven't known how the past races have been, but judging by tonight, it was a little disappointing. I know we have more talent than what was shown tonight, so I was just glad I was able to keep it in contention most of the race, and I want to get a win soon. Hopefully I can get back to victory lane next week.
Walk us through that final restart there. Coming back to the green flag, you're the 3rd car on that inside lane and are able to follow the 44 and the 94 up there to the front. You made a look to the outside, just couldn't get the draft. Walk us through that finish.
Yeah, actually, I didn't want the restart. I was content with 5th, but once we realized we had the one-lap shootout, it was just trying to keep the momentum up until I got a chance, hopefully, to get clear to the outside. I was able to get up there, just didn't, like you said, have enough help to get it, but I'm content with the top 3. Glad Frank was able to pick up the win. Ron had a nice run, so pretty happy all around.
And obviously, moving forward, the All-Star race is going to be coming up Talladega, but the next race that we're going to see everybody back on track is going to be back at Daytona. Daytona or Talladega, which one's your favorite, and how confident are you going to be moving forward in the season, knowing that you can put that 98 up front?
I really don't have a preference between the two. I think I've had more success at Talladega. That's where I got my win last season. So I feel pretty comfortable going into the All-Star race next week. Then maybe I can pick up a win and get some momentum going back for Daytona the next week.
And definitely, before we let you go, any sponsors or shout-outs you want to thank?
Thank everybody that worked with me tonight. Frank, Ron, we did a great job of keeping up there. Thank Rod Flag for everything he does with the league. Hopefully we can get this turned around soon.
And definitely 10-4. Well, once again, congrats on the top 3 finish, and we look forward to seeing that 98 up front in the future.
Thank you.
That is Greg Hooks, drive the 98. It's going to bring his Chevrolet home in 3rd, guys.
Yes, and it's very pleasant to hear all of the drivers praising the fact that we had a one-lap shootout to the end there. It was very exciting as a spectator, as a commentator to watch. Hopefully we'll see more green flag finishes. We've just had 2 in a row. Who knows? Maybe in the All-Star race we'll have even more excitement next week. So once again, congratulations to our winner, Frank Busilia, today. Also, we would like to thank Rod Flagg, the league organizer, for putting on this league, and we would also like to thank a few other people, the makers of the various software and hardware that help make this stream possible: iRacing.com, XSplit, Twitch.tv, Audio-Technica, and Ava Media. Thanks to the team today. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, you can find it at www.globalsimracingchannel.com, along with archived races and race highlights. We're also on Twitter at GSR Channel and Facebook at facebook.com/globalsimracingchannel. A big thanks to Dougie Beard for creating the camera sets that you saw during the stream. A special thank you to Eric Ekholm, who provides us with much of our music. You can find it not only here on GSRC, but in TV commercials, movie trailers, iTunes, and Spotify. If you like our music, tell Eric where you heard it at ericekholm.com. Thanks to Casey Lalonde, who also provides us with the music for our broadcasts. You can find more of his music at caseylalonde.bandicamp.com. Our next our next iSuperSpeedway race will be the All-Star race from Talladega Superspeedway next Friday, August 15th at 10 PM Eastern Time. You're not going to want to miss that. We also have the Continental Endurance Sports Car Series coming up this weekend from Mosport at 6:30 PM Eastern Time this Saturday. And then on Sunday, the VSRA, Virtual Sim Racing Association, will be back in action at Sebring International Speedway at 9 PM Eastern Time. Next Wednesday, we have the American Sim Racing Series. They will be racing their Camping World trucks at Bristol Motor Speedway at 9 PM Eastern Time. And then next Sunday, the Northwest Majors will also be at Bristol Motor Speedway in the trucks. That will be at 8:45 PM Eastern Time, 5:45 PM Pacific for you West Coast viewers. So until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.